The current date is November 3rd, 2021. Welcome to the Time Capsule podcast, where we'll be looking into the future, discussing the present, and reminiscing about the past. By the time we revisit these episodes, perhaps we'll be married or even have children. Anything can happen. The point is that we, your hosts, will not be coming back to these recordings for at least 20 years. You, however, sitting there listening to this podcast, can revisit these episodes anytime you like. Let us begin.
Hello, and welcome to the Time Capsule podcast. I'm Jake.
I'm Ryan.
And I'm David.
So, real quick, before we get into the episode, we just wanted to, talk about the current state of our lives, help to solidify this recording in its point in time and in our lives. That way we can better remember what our lives were like when we come back here in 20 years to reminisce. So right now I'm 23 years old and I'm working on my final semester of college to finish up a computer specialist certificate. And I'm also currently working in an Amazon warehouse to pay the bills, keep the lights on, and not all of the bills, just mainly college, gas, the essentials. The essentials.
Mr. Stills with his parents.
I technically, yes, I live with my parents, or you could argue they live with me. But here's the deal. Here's the diggity deal, y'all. In this current economy, COVID-19 has destroyed, almost destroyed, the stock market. The housing market is overinflated to heck and back.
It's trash.
This is literally the optimal living situation that you could be in right now. Is either still living with your parents if you're the right age, or like you're already in a house or whatever that you bought before COVID hit.
Right.
Like, I'm not gonna buy a house right now. That's ridiculous. All right, I'm gonna pass the baton on to David.
All right, so I am currently, at this point in time, 17 years old, and I'm a junior in high school. That's a whole different story I can get into later. I'm a junior in high school, and after I graduate high school, I plan on going to KU and either becoming an engineer or a zoologist. So we'll see what happens. Both? Yeah, why not both? We'll see what happens with that in the future. I'm currently unemployed, although I did have something lined up, but something weird happened with it, and the person never got back to me. So I'm also still living at home because I'm 17 years old. And yeah, that's pretty much all I've got going on. Brian?
Well, I'm 21 years old. Actually just turned 21 recently. I am not living with my parents. I moved out last year because sure, everything was super expensive, but like it was the best move for me than staying with them. I just started a new job at a car dealership. Very, very relaxing.
Congratulations on that, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah, man.
Love to see it.
It is very much more relaxing than what I was doing before. So much less stress, which is huge for me.
Excellent.
Yeah, I was way too stressed out before. It was bad. But now, super easy. I mean, really relaxing. People there are awesome. Super funny guys.
Good to hear.
Not much is going on in my life. Currently live in Kansas, but who knows, that may change.
Just dox
that's
yourself,
a pretty
bro.
important part. we all live in Kansas.
This is doxing. This is my IP address and my home address are
No, we don't have to get that specific, but
my credit card number is 123.
Those silly little numbers on the back are
No, there's not much going on here.
Okay, all right. Anyway, on. I think we're done with this little section, and it's time to move on to the main episode now. I'd say.
Yes, sounds good to me.
And what we're basically doing here with this little show is we're going to be recording conversations that we hope to be, at least meaningful in some way or another. Like if you random stranger, you tune in and you are able to take something away from the whatever episode you listen to, then we have done our job. That's basically, that's my personal view anyway. I hope you guys think the same.
I agree.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yes, I apologize if I kind of rambled there. I'm quite nervous.
I'm just itching to start speaking.
Yeah. Anyway, we're gonna be recording these once a month, and then we're gonna upload them to the internet. And when I say we, us three hosts, we're not going to come back to them until 20 years later. When we're just going to start listening to them again. Don't worry, we're not going to pull an Unis on us and delete anything. If anything does get deleted, you just let us know and we'll get that re-uploaded. But basically, yeah, we're going to come back in 20 years and we're going to listen to this stuff. And the point is, instead of locking these away in a box somewhere under like my bed or something,
or the earth,
we're going to just leave them on the internet. And currently, it's kind of pretty much the same because no one really knows we exist. No one has started listening to us yet as of this recording, obviously. But you know what? If we pick up a little, if we garner a following, I ain't complaining.
Me neither.
Yeah. You know what's funny is at this pace, it might take us 20 years to actually get this episode out.
Yeah, he's not wrong. little behind the scenes for you folks. We've been trying to get together and record this first episode for literally months, but that's okay because we're here now and we're here for you. Brian, what say you explain what this episode in particular is about?
Well, this first episode is kind of more of an introductory for your host here. Kind of introduce you to what, like Jake kind of described, what the podcast is about. We'll go over later on. We'll go over a few actual time capsules and like the history of them to kind of give you an idea of what to expect from this. Because I think understanding what time capsules are and like some famous ones, we'll discuss some famous ones. We'll kind of give you a better understanding of what to actually expect from this. I mean, we just wanted to get together, kind of share some of our quote unquote wisdom that we all have with you
even
guys.
If it's just with each other and not the listener.
Yeah, like
no
even
offense,
just
listener.
So yeah. In case one of us decides that we're more wise than the other person, we might share some of that.
Yeah.
I'm very interested and invested right now, just listening to you two talk. Like I feel like I'm just listening here. I was like, yeah, that's actually wow, that's really smart of him to say.
Your 2 cents as well,
and then I
David.
was like, oh yeah, I'm actually here.
Yeah, you're a part of this.
I am a part of this.
Well,
But for the most part, we wanted to fill this podcast with not only like interesting stuff that like discussing our interests and hobbies, which we'll do in future episodes, but leaving messages for our future selves to come back to in 20 years and our future families, if we have them.
really anyone that listens.
That's
Right.
yeah. But yeah,
I feel like we'll talk about a lot about like life and our experiences. This probably sounds like stuff you've undoubtedly heard before, but I want to be clear in saying that we're not trying to rip anyone off.
Right.
yeah.
Because as far as go ahead, Brian.
I was like, we definitely don't want to do that.
Yeah, and I think one of probably the main difference, one thing that sets us apart from the rest is we have a definite ending date. At least I'm. It's probably going to be the day we end it. Is 20 years from now. We might do like a sequel series or something and do 20 more years, but that's in the future.
Yeah,
we don't know.
That's very far away.
Yeah.
We think about that when we can burn that bridge when we get there.
Yes.
Forget crossing the bridge. Let's just burn it right away.
Yeah, burn it when we get there.
We won't even give it a chance. Anyway, let's get into our topic for today. Time capsules.
Dun dun dun.
Wow. So I'm just gonna briefly talk about what the concept of a time capsule, really. So it's usually a box or some other sort of container, but the size can vary greatly, and this box is filled with era or time specific contents, like a picture or a distinctive something significant that hails back to a specific time, or just has memories associated with it, and they're all packed into that container, and they are sealed away. Maybe they're buried under the ground, or shoved in deep into the back of a dark basement, that that kind of thing. And a date is set sometime in the future, usually at least 10 years, but most of the time more, like 20 years in our case, or sometimes even centuries, or thousands of years. And when that date is reached, the time capsule is opened again, and the items are reviewed for nostalgia, mainly, or sometimes, like when business starts, or like a theme park is opening. On that day of that grand opening, they'll make a time capsule to commemorate such events. Brian, what do you say?
About what? About time capsules?
Yeah, what's your 2 cents there on what do you think about time capsules?
I mean, I think they're pretty cool. I mean, you kind of left that. Really, that was a weird place to ask me that.
I'm sorry.
What do you think about time capsules?
I'm so nervous.
That's pretty neat.
No, yeah, I mean, time capsules are super cool. Actually, I really like the idea, because it's, at least personally for me, I'm not a part of any, but I mean, just reading in preparation for this podcast, just reading about certain time capsules has been like, I mean, it's super cool, like super informative. I love these things. It's like the reading about the stuff that's in them that, I mean, I might not be, a couple of these, I'm not going to be around for them when they open, but like future generations be like, yeah, I think that'd be super cool for them to discover. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's not much for me to say about it.
Yeah, just that. Even if you're not directly involved in a time capsule, just that, like, you when you find something, from a bygone era, and you get to like experience it, or even just hold the object in your hands, depending on what you've dug up. It's a pretty neat thing. Like lately I've been digitizing old media that my family's recorded on like VHS tapes, on those giant old cameras, and I came across a box of them in my grandfather's basement, and it's not like that was even a time capsule. Like, he didn't specifically put that away, to dig it up in exactly 20 years. He just that's just where it got stored after we moved him there. And even though I had no part in the videos at the time of their recording, it was neat to look at the members of my family back when they were younger, and see how they were enjoying themselves and what they were doing, that kind of thing.
That reminds me, I actually needed to do that for my mother.
Oh.
They have a crap ton of VHS tapes I need to digitize.
Yeah, it's a pretty neat and worthwhile thing to do, I gotta say. Anyway, Morty, you want to take us on a little walk through some famous time capsules that are either have happened or that are currently packed away and waiting to be opened right now?
I sure can try. I wasn't exactly expecting that.
What are you talking
Welcome
about?
to my
It's been
world.
on the Google Doc.
Well, yeah, I know, but I still, like, I don't know why I didn't. Give me 1 second here.
Sure. All right. Tell you what. You get ready, and I'll just talk a little bit more about what to me in particular is neat about time capsules is we don't even really know. There's no like definite first time capsule. Like there's no specific year when people first started doing them. They kind of just started happening, and like it's not even like that. It's just we started finding them. Like we found there was an instance. One of the earliest instances was a weather vane shaped like a grasshopper, and it was hollow and filled with stuff. From I think it was like the Revolutionary War, the American Revolutionary War era, and like that's like wild that we still are just finding stuff buried or inside of other things.
And I think it's interesting to think about, like, I guarantee you that there's probably been a few instances where people have, like, made time capsules and, like, set it for, like, 1,000 years in the future or something, like, and trying to do something there, and just, like, completely forgot about them. Like, I guarantee that, like, at some point, if there has ever been a time capsule that has tried to go on that long, that it just kind of got lost in the generations.
Oh yeah, of course.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's not just podcasts that suffer from that kind of thing. All kinds of stuff, tangible or not, suffers from being lost to time. There's an entire website called the Lost Media Archive dedicated specifically to like media that's been lost, like old TV shows where we have evidence that it existed, but that's pretty much it. Like we don't have any footage of the show itself or anything like that. We just have like little production details.
Right. All right.
But
well, hopefully that doesn't
sorry,
happen
don't let me
with
interrupt
this.
you.
Now that I'm actually like ready to say something, one of the
Sorry.
No, you're fine. One of the first uses of the phrase time capsule, like the actual someone wrote down, this is a time capsule, basically where the phrase got coined, is the Westinghouse capsule. And it was actually, I almost said buried not too long ago. It was buried in September of 1938, so it's been
a while ago now.
It's been a minute, yeah. And they want it to not be opened for another 5,000 years. When they buried it, they wanted it to be set for 5,000 years. So this is one of those time capsules that, like, if we didn't have all of the technology we had today, it would definitely be forgotten. Like, I guarantee you that in 5,000 years, no one would think of this time capsule buried in 1938.
Where was this at, though?
It was, that's a great question. It was at a festival.
It was the World's Fair.
World's Fair, thank you. I don't know why my excerpt doesn't say that.
And you said it was buried, right?
Yeah, it was buried. It was lowered into what they called an immortal well, and it was very popular attraction.
They marked where they buried it, right?
Right, yeah.
Okay, and when did we have we opened it yet? We didn't open it yet, did we?
Well, it was set for 5,000 years, and it was buried in 1938. So I'll let you decide.
Okay, all right. My bad.
No, you're
I was
fine.
making sure I heard everything right.
Yeah, no, we still haven't. Haven't buried it.
The Westinghouse time capsule. There's actually two of them.
Oh, really?
Yep. The first one, the one you were talking about, is 1939 or 1938 to 1939. They buried another one 10 feet from it in 1965.
Interesting.
How long is that one supposed to be under?
Let's see. Oh, looks like another 5,000 years as well.
Okay, interesting.
And some of the things that were included in the time capsule, there was more than 100 items in it. Some of them were some eyeglasses, a slide ruler, a plastic Mickey Mouse child's cup. There's a pack of Camel cigarettes in there, asbestos cloth, a dollar bill, wheat seeds, a Bible, and just tons and tons of other stuff.
Yeah.
And it's fairly decently sized. It's about 7 feet tall. So, and it's like
it's huge.
Yeah, it's cylindrical. It kind of looks like a torpedo, but it's a very interesting time capsule.
Yeah, I was gonna say like I mean I know I said huge, but I just meant like relatively speaking because most time capsules are not that big.
Right.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And speaking of big time capsules, I think isn't didn't the Nickelodeon time capsule is decently.
It's a pretty decent size, yeah.
I thought.
Yeah, any if you look at a time capsule created by a big company or for a big event, it's probably going to be a very sizable one.
Right. Now, let's see here.
I gotta say though, that's another interesting thing to think about. Like I mentioned earlier, how like we're still finding, old time capsules that some of them we didn't even know were there. And it's like, marking where a time capsule is, that's a pretty modern, like, thing. That's like, we obviously haven't been doing that the whole time.
Right.
But, that's a very common thing to see nowadays with time capsules.
Right.
Even if it's just, like, as simple as a brick with some writing on it. Or like, sometimes they're not buried at all, and they're just kind of sitting there on a shelf.
Right. Or out in the woods or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what's
or
interesting,
uploaded
though?
to YouTube, you know what I'm saying?
You know what's interesting about the Nickelodeon time capsule is it's supposed to be opened in the year 2042, which is roughly it's about the same year that we're going to come back to ours.
Oh,
it's
wow.
Like, yeah, it's 20 years from now, or 20 years from now.
Just about.
Wait, what year did they bury theirs?
1992.
Oh, wow, yeah, okay.
So they had it set for about, what is that, 50?
50, yep.
2050.
Wow, interesting. That's crazy. That's crazy, bro.
Man.
And there are many other time capsules that were made by, like, major companies, if you will. Maybe not necessarily major companies, but like other big names across the world that if you heard it, you knew exactly like who it was. So like, for example, the Nickelodeon time capsule that we just talked about, Disneyland has made a time capsule, NASA has made a time capsule, which doesn't surprise me because it's a very NASA thing to do.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Silence.
I'm
Science.
surprised they didn't bury it on the moon.
Right.
Well, I mean, that's because I guess it kind of depends on what we're talking about here, but the most notable, like the one that comes to mind when you think of NASA-made time capsules, the golden record on the Voyager.
Mm-hmm.
They were. It wasn't like humanity was not supposed to come back to open it up. That was for like extraterrestrial life.
Right.
It was like, hey aliens, here's our space capsule, if you will. But yeah. Back in 1977, when that bad boy launched from our planet, I'm sure there's all kinds of good stuff on there.
Indeed, definitely. Brian, why don't you talk to us about, tell us about the Crypt of Civilization.
Okay, so the Crypt of Civilization, would you stop mocking me?
Sorry.
Yes, I know, I realize my keyboard is right next to my microphone. So the Crypt of Civilization, in short, is one of the largest time capsules that we are aware of today. Absolutely huge. I mean, it's a massive room, just full of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And if I could get my computer to work, I could pull up a list of the stuff that's in there. But there's records, there's phone books, there's Bibles, there's pictures. Obviously, pictures are something you, for some reason, always put in a time capsule, I guess.
Well, yeah, why wouldn't you put pictures in a time capsule?
I don't know.
So is this a more modern day time capsule, or is this like slightly older?
It's a little older. Like I said, if I get my stupid computer to work, I could give you the exact dates, but everything's running slow all of a sudden. But no, it's been around a while.
Well, you said phone books, so that kind of gave me like a general idea of like what time period.
Yeah.
That also might have been. That might have been me misreading it. It might have
hallucinating.
Yeah. Well, according to Wikipedia,
like-
it was built between 37 and 1940.
Okay, so yeah,
So-
about 80 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's like, airtight. It's made to be impenetrable in order to preserve all the stuff inside of it.
Wow.
Yeah. Let's see. You already went over the contents. It was.
Briefly.
Yeah. Okay. So.
So yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So it's set to be opened on May 28th, 8113. So 6,000 years.
81.
Yeah, 6,100 years from now.
Jeez.
That's interesting.
That is crazy. Yeah.
No, I mean, I'm looking at the contents section on the Wikipedia article, and it says the sounds of Popeye the Sailor Man and a professional pig caller were stored inside the crypt.
Interesting.
And also it has voice recordings of leaders from the 1930s, including Hitler, Stalin, Franklin Roosevelt, and Benito Mussolini.
Wow.
Mussolini. Fun fact, Hitler's actually a fantastic orator.
A what?
A fantastic what?
Orator. A
What?
speaker. A fantastic public speaker.
Oh.
Orator.
I mean, he was a dictator, so.
It contains well, he didn't get there overnight. I mean, he talked people into following him.
That's true, yeah.
he put out the Nazi podcast. Everyone in Germany listening to
So
it.
the Crypt of Civilization also contains a container of beer, which is about 1 quart. Would love to see that. An ashtray, vanity mirror with a light on it, apparently.
Oh, interesting.
A plastic savings bank, cigarette holder, model air conditioner apparatus, pocket watches, cigarette lighters, wristwatches, an old flashlight, a set of Lincoln logs.
Nice.
You gotta have those. No, there's so much stuff in there. I'm
Dude.
literally skipping, and there's just so much crap here. There's so much stuff here.
6,000 years from now, people are going to open that up, and they're going to grab that case of beer, and no one's going to drink it. Because it's...
I mean, it's filled with inert gas in order to make it so it doesn't age. So, you know what? It might actually...
Well,
maybe
they're going
feel
to...
good.
They're
This
gonna,
baby's been aged 6,000 years.
it might still be good. It might still be good, but the point is that, like, it's going to be considered, like, a relic at that point. 6,000-year-old beer.
Right.
That's going to go in a museum. It's just like a case of, like, Bud Lights.
Yeah.
Like, in a museum, like, woo. Interesting stuff. It's all...
Oh no. There's little like documentaries of industrial and historical scenes from Ohio. Oh no, keep it in there. Don't open it.
What?
I'm sorry, I'm just making fun of Ohio. No offense to any Ohioans out there listening.
Yeah, if you're from Ohio...
No, don't listen to him. We mean it.
I find it interesting to think about how, like, even though humanity itself has just advanced so far so fast that like when it really boils down to all of it, that we still all kind of had the same mindset. Like, people thousands of years ago who made time capsules wanted to show people like what their life was like back when they were alive. Mm-hmm. And like even up to today, like people on the other side of the world, like, were not going to tell us about their like tradition of time capsules if they had one, or like the time capsules they were making back then. But like the fact that people all over still kind of had the same idea and like did it is just interesting.
I mean, it's how any civilization advances, really. I mean, you got, people in America. Well, no, okay, I don't want to go to America, but like farther back. Farther back. I mean, you got Egypt. Okay, Egyptians built pyramids. Mayans built pyramids, and they're on a complete separate part of the world. I mean, they didn't tell each other what they were doing, but they both had the same idea. I mean, it's like
you're totally right. In both cases, you've got these buildings where they sealed their leaders or just important people, and they're filled usually with treasures and booby traps, or at least according to Indiana Jones. And yet these were two very different civilizations. You're absolutely correct.
Yeah, I think it's just a part of human nature. We get curious about certain things, and I mean, whether or not we have communication or whether or not we like discuss like one people group discussing their stuff with another people group. I mean, we're going to have the same thoughts. I mean, most of our brains are different, but we run on a similar wavelength where we're going to have those same thoughts, I guess you could say. So that's probably, I mean, that's why you'll find time capsules on opposite sides of the world. They probably never communicated with the other side, being like, hey, we came up with this cool idea for a time capsule. They're just like, you know what, this is cool, let's do it. And the other side of the world was like, yeah, this is cool, let's do it. Like,
that is it's pretty wild.
The duality of man.
The duality. The time capsulality of man.
Right. People will always talk about their stuff, I guess.
Yeah. Another big notable time capsule is the one at Disney's California Adventure Park.
Oh, yes.
Now, this one was buried in the middle of the Buena Vista Plaza, and they were commemorating the construction of the newly redone California Adventure Park. And this was on June 15, 2012, and they are going to hold a special occasion, is the word they're using on their website, where they open it on June 15th, 2037. That is not that far away, actually, and that makes me feel quite old.
Well, when is it supposed to be open?
2037.
Oh, dang.
Wow.
Yeah, literally, and it was buried a decade ago. Almost.
Wow.
Dang, I feel old.
Yeah, exactly. Welcome to the Old People Podcast. No, I'm just kidding.
We have a guest on, a child named David.
Hey. Only a child for, like, not even a full year.
Well, I'm counting 21 as an adult.
That's not how it works. That's not how it works. 18 is adult.
That's, yeah, I mean, the people present different arguments for that, but I consider 18 to be an adult, generally speaking.
Yeah, no, I honestly don't care.
Yeah, okay, so I know Brian mentioned earlier that he's not directly involved in any time capsules, but David, are you?
Involved in any time capsules, like directly?
Yeah, like you have any, is your picture in one, or did you put something in one that's currently buried and waiting to be opened right now?
Other than what we are currently creating at the moment, I don't think so.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, aside from literally doing it yourself,
right.
It's not a common opportunity to be part of like a officially mandated time capsule by any group. I guess larger than 5 people.
Right.
But I am actually in 2.
Really?
Yes. So back in 2007, my elementary school created a time capsule, and we put in a bunch of they had us bring in items to put in, and they took a picture of this was I think for the 4th graders class or whatever grade I was in at that time. It was being spearheaded by that grade. So they took a picture of each class in that grade, and they put those pictures in there, and we put stuff like back in the day, one of the things that was all the rage amongst the us tiny tots back in the 4th grade or whatever was those little monkey head erasers that you put on the end of your pencil. Do you guys remember those?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, so they're essentially a giant sphere with a monkey face and little ears on the sides and a little tuft of hair at the top. They look super goofy, and that was It was like if cigarettes are currency in a prison, that was the currency in elementary school, man. They were in high demand. Let me tell you.
How many erasers you got?
Exactly, and you know what? I'm pretty sure I witnessed a kid get stabbed over it.
Oh my gosh!
Noah got stabbed. just kidding. Anyway,
You hear that, guys? School is like prison.
we sealed that in 2007, and this time capsule, honestly, it looks like a big torpedo. Like one end is like comes to a point, and it's big, and it's like silvery metal, and the other end is flat, and that's where the lid is, and it says "Do not open until 2032" on it.
Wow.
And the last time I saw it, it was like just sitting on top of the trophy case.
Wow.
So yeah, right in the front hall of the school. And the other one I'm in was made by my Boy Scout troop. Well, you know what? Actually, I'm not going to disclose the troop number because it's not at my liberty. Maybe the Scoutmaster wants that to remain anonymous for now. So
Right. I understand.
Wait, what?
What?
I heard. What did you say?
I said I understand.
Oh, okay. I misheard what you said.
I'm gonna find your scout and do. Never mind. I can't.
No, it's not. I mean, I've
David.
already like made it clear the kind of person I am by saying I was in Boy Scouts. I'm
Right.
sure there are so many people out there who hate the Boy Scouts in general, with, like all the accusations that have come across them. I don't want to get any more specific than that, but and it was either 2015 or 2016. We had like this fat PVC pipe, and we glued one end shut, and then we filled it with stuff. And I remember one thing in particular we did is I printed out this on this sheet of paper a picture of Doc Brown from Back to the Future with his mouth gaping open in surprise, and I put the caption "Great Scott, it's the future" onto that picture, and then on the back I had everyone that was like putting stuff in at the time and involved in it. I had everyone sign it, and so it's covered in signatures. And then after we filled it with all our stuff, I made sure that was the last thing we put in there, so that when we open it, the first thing you'll see is Doc Brown saying, "Great Scott, it's the future."
Wow.
Yes, and we buried that on the church grounds where of the church that we met at, and they still meet there. It's not like they disbanded or anything. And I believe it is supposed to be open in 2045, or somewhere around that time.
Nice.
So I'm involved in 2 time capsules, and can't wait to return to them and open them and see what all is inside them and enjoy those memories as they come flowing back into my brain.
I think that'll be a very cool experience.
Yeah, I mean, like, let me just say, if you're listening to this right now and you're young in any sense of the word, like, I don't know, if you're like 13 or whatever, and you're, for whatever reason, you're listening to our podcast instead of doing whatever it is teenagers do these days, go make a time capsule. It doesn't have to be anything big or complicated. You don't even have to include other people in it, although, you know, that'd be a neat little collaborative project to do, so long as your relationship lasts as long as the time capsule does. But you know, get a little, even if it's like a little like metal lunchbox or whatever. You know what, honestly, depending on how you store the container, it doesn't have to be made of metal, but just get a container, throw some stuff in there, maybe put some videos and pictures on a thumb drive, put that in there, and then, you know, leave it alone for like 15 years and then come back to it.
Because,
man,
Well,
I tell you what,
first of all, you should
ain't no
probably-
dopamine rush like a dopamine rush induced by nostalgia and looking back to when times were simpler. You know
that
what
is
I'm saying?
true. That
I
is
think
true.
if you're 13 or 14, you're listening to our podcast, go Google what a thumb drive is first, and
Hey,
learn how
no,
to put.
I'm gonna stop you right there. Those are still very commonly used today. Okay?
Very rarely.
20 years,
most
though?
people upload,
And- but- okay.
stuff to a cloud.
20 years.
Sure, but you know what? I think probably
Like,
what really
If you go into
most
a
people
middle
now
school
refer to that
or
as flash drives or
USB
you know,
drives.
hand drives.
Here's the thing, kind of like what Jake
Yeah,
was
USB
saying
drives.
just a second ago, like getting that dopamine rush from like the nostalgia of something that you used to do when you were younger. If you have something, this is just like a little rant, words of wisdom that I have. If you have something that you love doing, like right now, let's say you're super little, or like maybe you had something when you were like 8 or something that you love to do, take care of it, because one day when you like don't interact with that thing anymore, you're gonna grow up and you're gonna want to go back and look at it. And if you like were too rough with it as a kid, you won't be able to do that because
Absolutely, you're 100% correct.
I know.
Or if you're passionate about it, don't get rid of it either.
Right.
I used to have a sick atomic purple GBA color when I was a kid.
Oh wow!
And I even had this like a controller attachment that like clicked onto the back of it, and it made it like you were holding a typical like Xbox controller.
Dang.
Nice. And darn it, if I wasn't stupid and sold it for money to get the whatever came out next, the Game Boy Advance. And I had an original Game Boy Advance as well, and
So did I.
got rid of that too. And I'm very sad and angry that I did that. But I still have my Game Boy Advance SP. That's the one that has the built-in backlight and is the first one to like open and close like
Nice.
a clamshell deal.
So that's all for this episode. This has been the Time Capsule Podcast. Our intro music is Rareness of Existence by Adorito Silva. And our outro music is Chilled Out 21 by One Tomorrow 2. Both of these tracks can be found on pixabay.com. Thank you all for tuning in. We'll see you all next month.